Today we are here in the burning West, and trust me, it is very much burning right now. But we're here at Fiji's only animal hospital. You guys, this is a hospital for animals. I love the idea of it, and I hear that it's state-of-the-art equipment and facilities inside. I haven't even been inside yet, so I want to go in with you guys. It's called PASH, Pacific Animal Shelter and Hospital, and it's out here in Nandi, Langa Road, I believe it is. And you know what? From some of my friends who've actually brought their pets in here to be looked at and to, you know, experience medical services, they have had nothing but good things to say. And the owner, Marie, was kind enough to invite us here just to show us around the place and tell you guys about what kind of stuff they offer, the kind of prices they have, and I hear it's quite affordable. So how about we go check it out? I cannot wait to see this. Let's go. Okay guys, so, oh my gosh, are you kidding me, Marie? This is amazing.
Puppies everywhere.
This is the cutest thing I have ever seen, I think. It feels like I'm in preschool, like it's a play area.
Well, it sort of is.
It is a play area. I mean, look at this.
Meet Marie Payman, the co-founder and trustee of PASH. Marie and her husband Bob invested much of their own time, effort, and funds into building this amazing facility to help the animals of Fiji. Marie and Bob hail from California in the United States and had been frequently traveling to Fiji before deciding to retire here permanently. It wasn't long before their love for animals inspired them to build a Pacific Animal Shelter and Hospital, which opened its doors in April this year.
Initially, the first 6 months, I totally enjoyed retirement, you know, doing nothing, absolutely nothing. And then after a while, that got a little boring.
Yeah.
So we are both very passionate about animals. We have animals, we've always had animals. And I was a professional horse trainer, so I'm comfortable and love the big ones and the little ones.
Yeah.
At some point, we started really noticing what was going on in Fiji, and I had the opportunity on a few occasions to go out with some visiting vets into some of the really rural areas. And in early 2015, we sort of got together with a few other people and tried to come up and envision how we could best do something to benefit animal welfare in Fiji that would speed up the pace and just make little things a little bit easier than they were. So this was conceived.
PASH was born.
PASH was born. We put a lot of thought into it long before we broke ground, and we had a wonderful gentleman, Conway Beg in Suva, who was designed the building and really took into account the Fiji weather and the best way to keep the animals as cool as possible and comfortable. And it was also really important to us that we take care of the staff as well, because it can be a very stressful job, you know, pros and cons, goods and bads.
Yeah.
And so we hope that we did it right. We think we did. You know, we're very proud of it. Generally, we have a lot of support rooms here, which are necessary. Obviously, we have our dog boarding facility over here. Basically, it's an individual indoor-outdoor facility for your dog.
Yeah.
And we have it so that in the evening, we drop this door that's in the back so they're, quote, locked in, safe and secure, and don't have to worry about anything. And during the day, we put it up. They can run in and out or whatever
How does that work?
choose.
That's so cool.
This is
That's the shape of a bow.
This is a little wing.
Oh
So
wow.
that one's
So
closed
that
now.
shuts the door in there.
And
Pull it down.
then in the morning, after they've had their breakfast, we
Oh my
open it
god.
up, and they have to run the yard for the day.
So people have a choice of boarding their pets if they maybe go away, they travel.
And we've had pets stay for one night. We've had them stay for over a month.
Oh wow.
So it just varies from, you know, whatever individual needs are. We're booking now over the holidays, and you know, we have one person who's bringing, I think, 4 dogs and 3 cats or whatever. So it's a busy place.
Oh, it's a big place, especially during Christmas.
It is.
It would be.
Primarily, we have two major functions that actually occur here. One is our shelter system.
Yeah.
So we bring in, or we don't bring in, people bring in to us animals that tend to have been abandoned or picked up on the streets, or tourists often find them in hotels and come running in with, what do I do because I can't take it home. But so the shelter is a very, very big part. The other very big part is the medical department, which we're very fortunate to have had state-of-the-art medical equipment donated, and so we have a terrific team, our resident vet, and we've had quite a few visiting vets who help back her up, and then we have some vet nurses, and our regular staff jumps in and helps out when necessary. So this is actually the hospital wing, which most of these animals are either pre or post-surgery, or they're just simply ill and they need follow-up care, so that they're immediately connected to the treatment room, so that there's vets and vet nurses sort of constantly monitoring them.
Okay.
But we've been really, really pleased with the reception we've gotten and the feedback we've gotten, so we just hope we keep doing it right. So these are two patients, these are two shelter dogs who were, I'm not sure if they were either spayed or neutered today. So they're just laying here recovering, kind of resting off the drug effect. And because of the fact that it is a large facility, it is a well-equipped facility, one of our concerns from day one was making sure that everyone understood it's a charity, okay? We're here for that purpose. We're here to help the expats, but we're here to help primarily the locals and the people who for a long time haven't had a lot of options and things. I mean, there are other terrific, animal welfare operations here and in Suva, but we were trying to just step it up on the scale and the size. We have an average of about 100 shelter animals at any time, and that's quite a few, actually.
That's a lot.
You heard what it's like at feeding time,
Yeah.
So we really have reached out. We've tried through social media and just word of mouth to let people know that everyone is welcome here, and no one is turned away because they can't afford to help their animal. Obviously, we rely on some small medical fees and stuff, which we have to charge in order to keep it operational. But, we do take into account the situations here in Fiji, and so. This is basically the major treatment area where they prep for surgery, where they do their exams if they're more intensive than just a simple exam when they first come in. And somebody wants off that table.
This one we suspect fish poisoning, so it's just here on fluids and some antibiotics at the moment.
Is she doing well?
She's stable at the moment, but it just takes time to see her respond. So the next few days will be the critical ones for her. But it's like dogs can react to anything they're fed, and fish is a bit more high risk, just like in people. If it is full of parasites, then dogs can get sick like people.
Wow, interesting. Something for everyone to note. Okay, well, I hope she gets better.
Coming from the United States, where people are very passionate about their animals, where they are literally members of your family. I mean, I don't know the percentages, but I know a very large percentage of people in the United States that have pets. They sleep in their beds or in their bedrooms. They have their dinners when the people have their dinners. I mean, they're very much a part of the family. And I think that bond that we have with the animals is something that's really important to us, and it's why we're passionate about it. And I think what we looked around Fiji and saw that in a lot of cases that was missing, that people have animals, and dogs in particular, but they're simply there. They're just there. They're there. They've been there for generations. They're there. And that's why we've put in we haven't actually started yet, but starting in 2020, we've got plans to put in a pretty good educational program, because it's important to us that we do what we can to try to create the environment that allows for that bonding to grow. I mean, right now people will adopt a puppy because they're cute, they're cuddly, and everybody wants a puppy. Okay, and if you can teach children especially to bond with those dogs early on, and the same thing with the cats and the kittens. You create that bond, and then as they grow and they're not quite so cute and cuddly anymore, there's still that bond. And those children still want that animal in their life. They want them in their house. They want them going for walks with them. They want them waiting for the bus when they come home. And it's a generational change.
Coming up after the break,
I don't want people to get the wrong impression when they come and see this beautiful facility and think that it's very expensive to bring your pets here. It's not.
This is our catatorium.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we have an abundance of cats and kittens right
Wow.
now. We
Hi.
we generally average about 40 to 45 cats at any given time, and I think we're up to almost 70 now because we've had numerous kittens over the past few weeks. People surrender litters of kittens, unfortunately.
Oh.
And what we try to do is we encourage them when they bring in a litter of kittens to also bring the mother cat in to have her spayed so that this isn't a repetitive thing. And we've actually had very good results with that because people do understand there is a way to stop this cycle.
Yeah.
So that's our goal, but we work on the premise that if they bring them, we take them, but we do try to encourage them to bring the mother cat in. And,
Okay, so basically what happens is they will bring a box of litter of kittens
Right.
without
Without
a
the
mom.
mother. Right.
And I think it's important if you're going to bring the children that you have to bring the mother as well because they're still feeding off the
That's
milk
right.
at that time, right? And it does help, I guess. I mean, that's the time I guess you guys could help de-sex them so they don't.
Exactly. So we're
that
not
doesn't
doing this.
happen again.
So once or twice every year, they're not constantly bringing them in. And
Right.
you know, it's better for the mother cat. It's healthier
Yeah.
for her to be spayed, and it also helps. It helps the community
Exactly.
because you know people complain about too many cats, too many dogs,
Yeah.
and until people start taking responsibility, that issue is not going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've been very successful in getting
Aw.
quite a few of you little monkeys. Yes, coming up to Vincent.
You're in luck.
Anyone who owns an animal, with that goes responsibility. And I think one of the most responsible parts of that is to have your dog or cat spayed or neutered. There is, as everyone's aware, a huge, huge population problem of animals. There's the street dogs, there are so many stray cats, and the only way that that's going to be fixed is by people who do own these animals, bringing them in, having them spayed and neuters. Any of the animal welfare organizations do it. You know, we're happy to do it. There's a couple of others as well, and that's the beginning of the process. And I think that combined with education, just learning the proper care of your animals, someday that will make a big, big difference. So this is our intake area,
Right.
where anything that is surrendered comes in here and spends 2 weeks basically in our cottages here. They do get to go out and play during the day in a specified area, but they're just kept in here to make sure they're not ill, they don't have any communicable diseases or anything. And after their 2 weeks, then they get to go in with the general population, which is a big day for the cats and the dogs here. They think they've really graduated from puppy school or
they
something.
have
So,
Graduated, really.
yes. This is our surgical suite in here,
Oh, wow.
which we can do 2 surgeries simultaneously.
Right.
And
Wow.
You know, I don't want people to get the wrong impression when they come and see this beautiful facility and think that it's very expensive to bring your pets here. It's not.
Craig Powell is the chairman of the National Trust of Fiji, a trustee of PASH, and an animal lover.
Once we learnt about the wonderful investment that Marie and Bob had done here in Fiji, we knew that this is a great thing. The more that we can do together to help animals in the country, the better.
And this is our digital full body x-ray. So this has been an amazing piece of equipment to add to Fiji's, you know, animal care facility.
A full body X-ray machine, you guys. Wow. Okay.
And everything is digital, so as soon as anything is snapped, it's right here for the medical staff to look at.
Yes.
And if it's necessary for them to consult with a specific expert or something outside of the country, it's a very, very easy process. They can see exactly what we're looking at here, so.
And that makes right there.
Yeah. Yes, we're very, very proud of the work that's being done with this because it's just, there are so many amputations in Fiji out of necessity. And when you can actually see a broken leg or a fractured spine or something, it just gives you the opportunity to do things that we couldn't do in the past.
You know, as a concerned citizen who cares about animal welfare, I felt it was important to not only contribute towards helping them get started through business connections, but making sure that there was continuity in the work that they were doing, working with the Ministry of Agriculture to help PASH bring in expired drugs that we can use on stray and sheltered animals. And by that, what I mean is these are expired drugs that have a shelf life that can go on 8 years after the expiry date, and not necessarily use those expired drugs on people's personal pets, although, you know, that's an option, a voluntary option if the owner wishes to choose to. But really to help with strays and sheltered animals, to help with overpopulation, to humanely do it and control it. And you know, if the government can assist a wonderful facility like this to offer concessions on either bringing in medical equipment or allowing expired drugs that are on a prescribed list, sanctioned by, you know, the US Drug Administration, for instance, then, you know, we can do a lot more to bring a population of animals under control in the country.
So Lani, who is the resident vet here at PASH, is just going to join us to tell us about some of the medical equipment that they have, and maybe I'll let you tell us about it.
Right. So at the moment, in terms of diagnostics, we have basic microscope, so we can do cytology, look at cells, look at skin scrapes.
Yeah.
We also have a very small microhematocrit, so we can spin down blood and basically check their red blood cell levels. We also have a centrifuge machine, so you can spin down urine and check for any sediments if they've got like urinary tract infections. So they're all like your basic diagnostic things that you have in a vet clinic. Ideally, we would love a hematology and biochemistry machine. So basically, you be able to run blood samples and check what their white blood cells are doing, their red blood cells are doing. You check what their organs are doing. That would be really helpful. A lot of the patients that we see here would yes. So at the moment, we use the human lab, Zen's Medical in town. They run all our bloods for us. So ideally, that is something that we'd love to
To
have
run a
here.
facility like this involves a lot of costs. I don't think a lot of people fully appreciate what it takes to run a facility like this. You know, you have obviously the costs of skilled vets to employ, you know, vet nurses, staffing, overheads, insurance, feeding of care of the animals, the pets, you know, maintenance. Bob and Marie have invested a substantial amount of their own money into the building of this wonderful facility, but they don't have a personal slush fund that can continue to pump, you know, money because they're both retired. They did this out of the goodness of their hearts. Having said that, we need all the help and assistance we can get to keep it sustained successfully, and so that it can stand on its own 2 feet. And we offer also low-cost services to make it affordable for the locals to bring in their pets. I think that's been a surprising revelation for many of them who have come here for the first time and discovered that it's not as expensive as they thought it might be. And so I think we've made a slight improvement, and with the help of Pet Project, I think we're going to make bigger inroads. So I want to thank Fiji TV and the initiative on your part to introduce this program. So it's wonderful. I think it's a great timing with the introduction of newer facilities in the country. I think we can definitely educate our public to be more clever with how they handle their animals. You know, I often say that animals are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
We're always interested in volunteers because you can never have enough volunteers. We also are very interested in finding some people who might be willing to give up one Saturday afternoon a month or so to help us with the educational programs that we'll be putting in the beginning of the year. Preferably, of course, people who love being around children or are good with children. And teachers are a wonderful thought, but any parent who's willing to, come and spend some time, and we will have a educational curricula set up, if you will, but it'll be fun. It's going to be, movies here at our community room, and while they're watching movies and being educated, they'll be playing with kittens one month, or with cats or puppies the next month. So there's a lot of help that we could have in that manner.
Up next, we've got professional dog trainer Ranita Reddy.
The cat at the back is trying to attack you for being a dog trainer.
Yes. So I think when you have a pet, like regardless of what sort of breed dog you get, it's important that you teach boundaries and you have like a relationship of trust.
Meet Ranita Reddy, another trustee of PASH and a professional dog trainer. Ranita gave us some tips on how to train your pooch, learn their body language, and how to gain their trust.
So trust is super important when you have a pet, because if they don't trust you, then they won't listen to anything you're saying.
Yeah.
So what I like to say is the principle for training is trust. So you establish a relationship of trust. So when you have a pet, you're not going to like provoke your pet or do things that annoy them. So think of it like a child. Like they wouldn't like it if you're poking their ears, or even like a human, right? If I'm saying they're poking your ears, you're going to snap and get mad. So it's like the same principle. We're establishing this relationship of trust. So like any relationship in your life, trust is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And that's the same for dog training.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, the first like few weeks are just spent gaining that trust. And then once they trust you, everything else they do. So a lot of the time, the aggression we see is out of fear. It's not because they're actually aggressive or they actually want to do something to you. They're just afraid of you because they don't know how to react. So then they react in a fearful manner. So they'll either bite you or growl. And they become territorial. So that's what we often see with the dogs. Like a lot of our shelter dogs, they're just afraid. And as soon as they experience a little bit of love, they just turn into these like fluffy fur balls. One of the key things I think is if you have a pet, is to keep your pet in like your compound. Don't let them roam around.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what, just innocent people walking by, you don't know how they're treating your dog. Like they might be throwing things at them, throwing stones. So if you're letting a dog roam around, like they're bound to interact with people, which then gives them, like it teaches them all these behaviors that they really wouldn't have picked up if they were like in their compound and they weren't like aggravated. So yeah, I mean that's like the first step, is kind of keeping your pet in your compound.
Join us next week as we continue our dog training lessons with Ranita.
His food, be petting him while he eats, touch him, move the plate around, and he shouldn't show any signs of aggression. So he's
If they're barking at you, it's when they go silent and they lick their lips. So that's when they're like gonna go in for the bite.
Oh my God.
Which no one.
The best thing is the old age of adoption. If you can adopt, that's fantastic. If you can't adopt, if you can foster, because we get a lot of kittens in, we get a lot of small puppies, that it helps our staff relieve the time that those animals require. It also gets the animals off to a really good beginning in a socialization type of arrangement. So anything like that helps. We have a list on our website that anyone can go to of items that we are constantly using, and it's just that we need them all the time. And so we end up taking donated funds to purchase those items. So we've had some wonderful, wonderful volunteers, visitors from here in Fiji, visitors from overseas who have donated all kinds of wonderful things, you know, from towels to paper towels to food to collars to all kinds of things. Anything you imagine a dog or cat could need in its life is what we need.
Make a difference. Be kind to animals.
You need to give them lots of love, because if you don't give them lots of love, they'll probably run away because they think you don't love them.